Would you tie a cord to yourself that at any moment it can snatch you back to your past? The good and the bad, but how much about your past is that good that it is in the past? It's the same thing with people. You gotta stop attaching yourself to people, or letting people attach themselves to you who are stuck in the past. If they want to remind you of the past, or if they remind you too much of your past, you need to do just that and leave them there. Leave them in the past. If they're more future-based, their conversations are more futuristic. They're making plans on, their plans are building and, growing things, and they're a mover and a shaker. Those are the people you want to take to the future. Those are important people. They relay the message to people who may still be stuck in their past, right? Including you, especially if they're in your circle. They let you know, like they're the first, they're the trendsetters. They go forth, look past the rubble and see potential, and see it. And you also need a person who can see what to do with the potential. When you attach yourself to people who are always talking about your past, especially the low vibrational, the past itself is a lower vibration. Even the good things of your past that made you, that built you, they're of a lower vibration, but it is to build you past a certain frequency. And once you go past that frequency, you really don't want to go back, no matter how good it was. Like nobody wants to go back to their some people do, which is those people stuck in the past, because they can't vibrate high enough to meet you in the future. They want you to stay on the same timeline as them, and they're stuck, or the same timeline that they're stuck on, which is the timeline in the past, the frequency that is in the past. Even at your high points in the past, your frequency is still lower than your lowest frequency today. And that's when you're able to completely detach from your past. You have to be able to detach those two frequencies. You can't vibrate past lower than the highest point of your past. So if they want to talk about the past, leave them. If they want to talk about the future, take them with you. And the people who are stuck in the past, like they'll talk about, remember how we used to, how we used to bang or whatever, or how we used to, destroy this, destroy that, or remember, even if it's the good stuff, like remember our last high school football game. Like, you ain't Al Bundy, man. You see how Al Bundy is. He's married to a wife that he isn't even attracted to anymore. He doesn't want her anymore, and he's always talking about that game-winning touchdown at Polk High, and sitting there with his hands in his pants. Mind you, in real life, he's on two different frequencies, right? In real life, he's black belt in jiu-jitsu and probably doing well for himself. I haven't seen or heard from him in a while, but he, kind of dropped off the mat after Married with Children. After Married with Children, as far as I've heard. But yeah, he was able to detach frequencies from that show after the fact and kind of disappear off the map. He might be vibrating higher than anyway. Yeah, if they love talking about your past, just like, that's fine. Let them do that by themselves. It's like I always say, you can't treat people how you want to be treated. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for everyone. Some people, you got to treat them according to their understanding. And some people, you just, their understanding makes it impossible for you to even have to want to keep dealing with them, or feasible to keep dealing with them, because some people, they vibrate so low that all they understand is shouting, yelling. They don't understand discussions and debates. Leave them in the past with the people who are stuck in the past, because that's the frequency you're trying to leave in order to elevate to the future, to get high enough to vibrate higher than the highest point of your past. Hopefully people are keeping up, or just understanding in general. So you got to leave those people there. Because some people, they all they understand is abuse. All they understand is, cursing each other, all talking all wild to each other, all reckless. Like, that's not you anymore. You can drop to that level, but every time you do that, it just brings you closer to that level until you're able to get by yourself and meditate on a higher level, higher vibration. And then if you keep progressing, it gets to a point where it's not in your spiritual taste buds anymore. Like, it actually disgusts you. It makes you feel, you start feeling physically ill because you're doing things that are no longer in your spirit. You have purged your spirit of these lower vibration, more demonic frequencies. And there's a reason you outgrow people, because your frequency raises, period. You know, your vibration, it raises. You're on too high of a frequency to drop back down to even their highest frequency. That's when you start getting sick, because there's a separation there. Just like, you know, oil and water don't go together. You know, if you put oil and water in your body, you'll probably feel some, or ingest oil and water together. You know, the separation of those two components will probably cause you a little indigestion, cause you a little upset stomach or something. But certain components, you know, they don't mix well in your stomach. Just like certain components, they don't mix well with your future. They only belong in the past. So anything of a lower vibration than where you're trying to be, it needs to, you know, everything must go. Leave it in the past, you know, because that's where it belongs. You know, the past is the lower vibration, and people want you stuck. The past timeline is a lower vibration. The future timeline or present, you know, could be a lower vibration, a low vibration, but it's not as low as the past. And the future vibration is supposed to be, you know, you vibrating higher. Now, you can stock market plummet and go back to your past, and you're gonna, the higher you vibrate, like, the more problematic it is if you drop below a certain frequency to come back. Because once you see things, especially on a spiritual level, they can't be unseen. You can't unlearn certain stuff. Like, yeah, we have traumatic experience where our mind will put up mental blocks to protect us from the experience, or, you know, this, that, and the third. But once it's of a higher frequency, once you know better, you know, that's why our karma is so rough, because we know better. We see what's going on in a spiritual warfare thing. You know, if we do wrong, we get our karma, our, you know, our feedback, you know, like, worse than anybody else. And that's why we can't really afford to mess up, because, you know, we can get stuck there with those people. They never knew. You can't miss what you never had. They never had that frequency. They never touched that frequency. You know, you can't miss climbing Mount Everest if you never climb Mount Everest. You know, you can only desire to get there and raise your vibration to a higher frequency. And so, yeah, treat people according to their understanding. That's how I see it. Because if you treat people how you want to be treated all the time, you know, there's certain people you just cannot. And it's only going to drain you and cause you unhappiness and cause you to make towers in your own life, because eventually you hang around anything long enough, it's going to take effect. It's going to rub off on you and how you live your life, and, you know, how you coexist in day-to-day, you know, your coping patterns and behaviors will eventually change, you know, and your tolerance gets lower and lower as your frequency gets lower and lower, and then you're back to square one. And you've let these people or these places, entities, drag you back and put you in the vibration of your past. You know, because we've all done some bullshit. You know, we've all fucked with bullshit. Everybody was trash at one point, and they had trash people around them, and that's the whole thing. And I spent most of my life alone, but the only time I was actually trash is when I was allowing people to try to attach themselves to me that were trash. You know, but when you're by yourself, you know, you're a clean slate. You get to grow. You know, don't be afraid. The whole thing about the spiritual journey is you cannot be afraid to let any entity go. No notice, no warning, no explanation, and never fucking look back. You know, that's the whole thing. You know, you start looking back, there's that pillow of salt, you know, just that you're about to turn into. Don't glance, don't peek, don't do none of it. Just don't look back. Keep vibrating higher and keep raising your vibration and extending down that timeline. And stay on your Y tangent. Stay on your Y tangent. Stay off the X tangent. It's not the energy you want to be on. So, hopefully a lot of that made sense, or enough of it for you to get the message. Remember, drink your water, heal yourself, properly. Don't let anyone dictate what you're worth. Eat roots. And most importantly, life is too short to mind other people's business, so it's best that you mind your own. Peace.